Recording in progress.
All right. Thanks everybody for joining us today. This is a Board of Health meeting. And so this, I believe, Colleen, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is the first meeting that we've had with the new seated Board of Health. And so I don't know exactly how you want me to, how you want us to go through the agenda.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the first meeting of our newly seated Board of Health. And so basically, as the chair, usually we just, open the meeting and then we kind of work our way down. Today, there is a public hearing as a part of it. We try to capture the pieces. And then I know there's always room for improvement on that because we forget something on that. And, obviously we do have the agenda up. And that is where we're at. So we can call the meeting started and then work our way through.
Okay, so we will start the meeting today at 3:09 p.m. It's March 28th, 2022, and this is a meeting of the Lake County Board of Health. Just for everyone's reference, the Board of County Commissioners now sits as the Board of Health for Lake County. So welcome everyone to this meeting. And so today I'm going to hand it over to Jackie Littlepage from Environmental Health to present to us on the public hearing that we have for 2 variance requests on 1 property. So Jackie, if you'd like to walk us through the presentation.
Sure, thank you. Can you hear me okay? Awesome. So today the public hearing is asking for 2 variances. The first one to allow 2 vault privies in place of a traditional on-site wastewater treatment system, or OWTS. And then the second variance request is for a variance allowing year-round use of those vault privies for a commercial group camp operation that is located on the known property of 2071 Turquoise Chief Road, and the parcel number is 2635-072-00-001, located in Leadville, Lake County, Colorado. Let me switch over here. Staff report. Staff report was emailed out on the 17th. Here's the letter that we received. The applicant is on today. It's Bryce. Thank you, Bryce. And correct me if I'm pronouncing incorrectly, but your last name, Ehrlich?
Ehrlich, close enough. Yep,
Ehrlich. I'm sorry about that. Sorry.
Nope.
So Bryce is here today, and this is the letter that he sent to the Lake County Board of Public Health. He's writing to request an on-site wastewater treatment system variance for their property 2071 County Road 9A to install 2 vault privies. These privies would be in accordance with the intentions and conditions of their group camp conditional use permit. That file number was 21-10 and would be installed at the south site to serve 1 yurt and 1 tent camping site on the north site to serve 1 yurt. The CUP file 21-10 allows maximum summer occupancy of 8 persons at the south site and 6 persons at the north site. In winter, maximum occupancies drop to 4 persons at the south site and remain 6 persons at the north site. Both sites are accessible by vehicles in the dry months, including septic pump trucks. There will not be a well or running water at the property, and guests will be expected to haul in their own water. Given these specifications and limitations, we worked with the engineering firm to design suitable vault privies in lieu of a traditional septic system. These plans have been reviewed and found to be sufficient by Lake County Department of Environmental Health. And then, as we stated, they would like to formally request 2 variances from the Lake County Board of Health. First variance to allow 2 vault privies in place of 1 traditional OWTS. And the second variance allowing year-round use of the vault privies for commercial group camp operations. Those privies are accessible to septic pumper trucks in the summer months and were specifically designed with capacity to handle maximum occupancy through the winter months. We're confident this variance is reasonable and will not result in additional burden on the county resources or the environment. As we have invested our time and resources to make sure the variances can serve as a model for responsible wastewater management in remote and environmentally sensitive areas of our county. Given the $800 OWTS permit application fee and engineering costs and ongoing challenges to completing our development, including building material shortages and rising prices, we respectfully request a waiver of the $500 variance fee from the board. Thank you for your time and consideration. Bryce. And then the staff report goes on to include the engineered design drawings for the septic system. Let's see, they have 2 proposed vault privies. The south privy, according to this design, is also servicing 4 people in the winter and 8 in the summer at the south privy, and the north privy is servicing 6 people in the summer and winter. Each privy location installation will be a new 2,500 gallon 1-compartment septic tank. They're proposing the Valley precast model number listed here. And when I reviewed this, there are no contradictions with the state Reg 43 or our Lake County OWTS regulations. This vault type and specifications do meet the requirements for vault privies. On page 6 of the staff report, it shows kind of a variation of where the proposed sites or locations for the vault privies in comparison to the yurts and their road along the property. And see, it looks like that's it. So I'm going to scroll back up here. The top first page of the staff report, I did mention that I did review the plans. I've reviewed them according to state regulation 43 for the onsite wastewater treatment regulations and our local OWTS regulations, and I did not find any conflicts between the engineering, the proposed use, and the regulations, and therefore I would recommend to the Board of Health approval of both of these variances. And then there's proposed motions here. So that's the end of my presentation. And then
All right, thanks, Jackie. So now what we'll do is we'll give the applicant an opportunity to speak through their presentation if they have anything additional to present. So Bryce, if you'd like to present anything to us on your application, now is your opportunity.
Okay, well, thank you, board. I appreciate it. I don't have much else to add besides what Jackie said, other than just to say that, you know, the year-round variance request is just to provide for the variability in start and end of seasons. You know, it's not my intention to be open for mud seasons. Obviously, we're going into a period where I wouldn't want to be going up there myself anyways. So, but it's a little early this year. It can be later. So I think the year-round is just to allow for that commercial and operational flexibility. And my goal here is just to provide a low impact example, as Jackie kind of alluded to, or our letter did as well, just, you know, something to serve as a model of responsible development in these backcountry areas that we're looking to protect. It does have road access, so that allows pumping, and there's no need for extra land disruption from a leach field or a well or a piping. This is designed to be a low impact system and for a low impact camp. So I appreciate all your consideration. And that's all I have.
Okay, thanks so much, Bryce. Appreciate it. So at this time, what I'd like to do is ask Jackie if she's received any messages or written comments to add into the public record regarding this application.
sure. So I did mail out the written notifications for the public hearing to both the property owner Bryce and the only neighboring adjacent property owner, which is the U.S. Forest Service. I know that the Forest Service did receive it because they sent me an email asking me to change the contacts, the name and who the contact is there at the Forest Service. They did not make any comments, and we did not receive any questions, queries, or concerns.
Okay. All right, so give me just 1 second, Jackie. All right, so at this time, we've had a presentation from Environmental Health and a follow-up with the applicant. No public comments to be read into the record, but at this time I will open the public hearing at 3:19 p.m. Is there anyone on the Zoom with us today that would like to enter in a public comment regarding this application for the variance for the vault privy at the site? Okay.
We don't have anybody.
We don't have it. Just for the record as well, we do not have any public in the room with us today. It's only the Board of Commissioners acting as the Board of Health and our staff, County Manager Tim Bergman. So we don't have any public with us either. So Jackie, since we have not received any public comments, I will close the public hearing at this point at 3:20 p.m. and we will move on. Okay. So now we will have board discussion and questions of staff and the applicant. So I'll open it up to my fellow board members to ask any questions of the applicant or staff regarding this application. And I have my audio unmuted so you guys can speak into my.
I guess, yeah, so thank you. So a question I think for Jackie is, so sort of what could have been the criteria for denying this? So, and sorry, I feel like I try to get up to speed every time on these questions, but so is it correct that, I mean, where the recommendation is to approve this variance because a well-constructed vault toilet will have that gets pumped out and taken off-site will have less impact on the land, you know, on potential public health threats than, you know, even a septic system, which would have been the standard approach, you know. So sorry, I'm kind of rambling. So the criteria is like we need to have confidence that the proposed system has less release into, you know, this land parcel and adjacent land parcels than a well-constructed septic system. Am I sort of on the right track?
Yep, I think I understand your question. And so the way our Lake County OWTS regulations are written, we do allow structures that do not have running water to apply for a variance to not have to have a full and complete or traditional on-site wastewater treatment system. So the regulations specify that any structure where people are going to work, reside, or spend more than 8 consecutive hours, then they have to be tied into a sewage system or an on-site wastewater treatment system. And so since this particular type of structure and use is not going to have running water, they can't tie into a regular traditional on-site wastewater treatment system. So the vault privy is what is the best option then for their particular use. And our regulation does specify that for residential use, vault privies are prohibited unless, 1, they don't have running water, and then 2, that they are limited to limited occupancy of less than 90 consecutive days or less than 180 days per year. So this one, their second variance is then requesting year-round use for commercial group camp operations.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Mush, do you have any questions at this time for
Yeah.
staff?
Yes, or the applicant, Bryce. I'm wondering, how is the system how oversized might the system be, or is it, and what was the size based on the projected overall numbers of use?
You know, I gave the engineers the numbers of the occupancy and just kind of the maximum length between what would be possible between the pumping sessions, you know, making sure it lasted all winter. And these are the tanks they gave us. They're basically the largest commercially available tanks. I don't know if they're overbuilt, but they certainly make me feel confident we're never going to run out of space. So,
Yeah.
especially having two of them. But yeah, I think compared to other operations I've talked to, they're pretty large.
So, and out of curiosity, like, I imagine there's some like volume that's ideal to actually go in and make it worth pumping. If I'm asking that question right? Like a 10% full vault might dry up or not even be capable of pumping. Like is there, it looks like Jackie's getting to maybe answer that question, pulling up.
Yep, it's in here somewhere. Let's see.
I missed
The-
75% full and close to needing to be pumped. I'd be very curious.
And so it is required to have.
When
a
you hit
water
that,
alarm
Bryce.
float. So there will be an alarm in the system to notify the occupants that the tank's getting full. So as the owner, Bryce would then be in charge of monitoring that tank for 75% full and continuing to monitor until the alarm goes off, or have it pumped prior to the alarm going off at 75% full.
Okay. And I'm sorry, I think a lot of my questions, I don't have any concerns about this, just to make that clear. I think just Bryce is kind of acting like a guinea pig, maybe in more of these that we will be seeing down the road. So I did miss that in that detail. Thank you, Jackie. Sorry, I wrote my question down. I lost it. Okay, and then somewhere in there it did say that the pumping would be done seasonally, right? During the summer months. I just want to make sure that that doesn't conflict with our road closures and getting the proper equipment to pump something that's 75% full and very large. So I kind of just want to recognize that. And
Yes, that is
okay.
part of the requirements, and certainly the Board of Health could put that into a written condition if you felt so necessary. I do believe that the regulations do require that pumpings take place during accessible seasons. This being a backcountry, when there are road closures and snow closures, it will be then up to Bryce to monitor that and make sure that he's scheduling his pumpings accordingly.
Yeah.
It would
Yeah, I
not be
wouldn't-
feasible to do like a snowmobile in to pump it into a tank to haul it out. That would not be appropriate.
Right. Well, and I know like in the past, people would haul out waste on horseback and make other ways, which might be fine, but not for this volume of a tank. And I don't necessarily want to consider different language for this application to prohibit that. Again, just really want to make us all cognizant of like thinking about future permitting and making sure that we kind of have expectations clear so that there's no conflict in premature road plowing or whatnot. And then, yeah, I think I just have questions again for kind of future permitting that we could maybe ask after we close up the decision.
Okay. Sure.
And if I could just put in one comment about the road closures. It's just that accessing this site, you have to use the publicly available snowmobile trails. And so Public Works does a really good job of making you know when and when not vehicles are even allowed on that road. So it would be, it's just like a viability thing for me. You know, I'm only going to be able to pump this when the roads are really dry anyways, just to make sure it happens and my investment is worth it. So, but yeah, I think the road closures definitely want to be respectful of them. Like I said, I think the transition time of year, you know, not planning on having anything going on up there anyways.
All right, sorry, I wasn't.
Thank you.
Sarah said thank you. Okay, I don't feel like I have any additional questions at this point on this variance request. So I will,
I don't either.
anything?
I'm good.
further? Okay. All right, so with that, then I will entertain a motion for this, and here is you have the proposed motions. Okay.
I'll move to approve the variance request for one, a variance to allow 2 vault privies in place of a traditional onsite wastewater treatment system, or OWTS, and 2, a variance allowing year-round use of the privies for the commercial group camp operations on the property known as 2071 Turquoise Chief Road, parcel number 2635-072-00-001, Leadville, Lake County, Colorado.
Okay.
Second.
All right. So we have a motion to approve the variance request. Is there any further discussion on the motion on the floor?
None for me.
No, none for me.
Nothing. Nope.
All right, seeing none, we will put all those in favor.
Aye.
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 All right, and so we will close this public hearing at 3:30 p.m. on March 28th, 2022. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Bryce. Okay,
Thank you, board. Appreciate it.
thanks. So we will move into number 2, which is a report from Colleen Nielsen, the Director of Public Health. She has 2 items on the agenda: COVID-19 update, and then the Board of Health role there's a couple of hyperlinks in the agenda with a pocket guide and an explanation of core public health services. So Colleen, I will turn it over. Go ahead, Sarah. Go ahead.
Can I ask one
Yeah.
more question?
Yep.
To the application in the vault. Jackie, is there a way because we could anticipate seeing a lot more of these, is there a way to have some standard design that we offer to folks? An engineered, because these are like precast
So the
pits, right?
requirement for the regulation is that it's based on a site to site. What am I trying to say? Each site has to be evaluated by an engineer to do a site and soil evaluation, or to just disclose where there's water features or restricted features, and make sure that they are placing the vault privy in an appropriate place. So unfortunately, we can't move away from the engineering requirement. That is still remaining in our regulations. What I had tried to push through or request, sorry, not push through, what I had tried to request of the Board of Health in the past was a discussion on vault privies in general, that we remove from our regulation the requirement that vault privies have to go to the Lake County Board of Health to be approved, and start allowing them to be approved by staff, because they are very simple, and this Board of Health variance approval process has proven to be extremely time consuming and not meeting the concerns of all of the variances that are more appropriate for the Board of Health's time.
Okay. Okay. But I guess my question too is I can understand kind of getting eyes on the ground and like a placement, that's one like engineering aspect, but the actual engineering of the of the
Vaults
pit.
specified by the manufacturers, and so a vault can be either plastic or cement, and those are already
Like-
engineered by the manufacturers, and those specifications come into the engineer's report. So the engineer then decides for the geological site location
Okay.
and the setback requirements to any geological features on the site, which tank is then going to be best. Can they use a plastic one? Is there high water concerns? Concrete tanks are heavier, so they don't possibly pop up or float. Or plastic tanks, if they are empty, could possibly do that. So that's kind of just a real brief what engineers take into consideration when they're choosing a tank. But ultimately, it's up to the engineer to choose the best tank for the site location and the geological features there.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, so Colleen, I'll turn it over to you for an update, and then we can talk through Board of Health roles.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much. And it's nice to see all of you guys as our Board of Health seated and ready to go. And the first thing is just COVID-19. As we know, we continue to monitor the situation. We do give you guys bi-weekly slide decks as part of the policy group, as well as some other members of the policy group. And as you have noticed, obviously our cases are really low. There is a new, wouldn't say it's that new, but it's one that's gaining some attention. It's still part of the Omicron family, so to speak. It's BA.2. It has been in Colorado. It has been detected. It seems to have taken off in Europe, but it's not quite tracking the same way here in the US. It hasn't really changed any of the pieces that we're doing. We continue to contact trace cases currently, focusing on possible outbreaks, and we haven't experienced any of those just because our case count has been so low in the sense of less than 10 a week currently, which is great. And still looking at all the tools and in the toolkit that include antivirals, as well as vaccination, as well as other mitigation strategies that we don't need to utilize, hence why we haven't had our masking order in place for quite a while at this point. And so that is kind of where we're at, and I'm happy to answer any questions on that. Obviously, we'll give a full debrief about a week from now. Nope, 2 weeks, because of how April starts on a Friday instead of a Thursday, but we will have a new slide deck up for you guys next week, giving you just more of that up-to-date information. And as you can imagine, still looking at all the different funding streams and what is staying, what's going away. So that's kind of what I'm navigating behind the scenes currently of what I'm able to still continue to fund as far as contact tracing, case investigation, some of the other roles that we've been utilizing COVID funding. And so I am just doing that currently. So that is where I'm at with COVID. Nancy, I was like, looks like Nancy might have a question.
Hi guys, yes I do. Hi Colleen, good to see you. I just wanted to throw it out there if there's any messaging that we need to continue to do to the business community, if you can just let me know. We did leave a couple of things in our communications, but I believe we've taken them out. But I feel like after having this conversation, maybe we should put, if you feel appropriate, let me know what that messaging would look like, and we'll include that.
Awesome. I so appreciate that, Nancy. Like I said, and obviously the board is aware as well of the opportunity to kind of sync up with the EDC and some of our messaging pieces, and that's been really valuable for us. And obviously, if you hear something on your end as we talk about, the communication flows both ways. Anything that we can be doing more, and going from there. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate that. All right, Colleen, if you want to move on to the second bullet point on your agenda,
Yeah, absolutely.
Board of Health role.
Yes, and so as you know, if you read through, we just reshared some links that you've seen before, because all of you have acted on the Board of Health at one time or another. And most recently, Kayla and Jeff, and then Sarah coming back on the board. It was just more of that reminder of, hey, here's some of the roles and responsibilities. I think one of the things that we need to navigate is the secretary position, as far as like, I have the ability to be secretary, take notes and provide minutes. Now that it's seated as the county commissioners, in the past, it was the clerk and recorder who would come in and take the minutes, and then obviously be part of your normal approval minutes process, how it comes, to a Board of County Commissioner meeting, approving all the other, side meetings, so to speak. And so I have a question around that with the roles, and obviously we don't have to decide it today. It can be a bigger conversation, but I didn't know kind of where that stands. I'm also working right now because we have recorded all of our past meetings. I am looking to, and my notes, I will admit, going back to them, I'm like, I don't know how I did so great. And I can't piece it all. So because we do have them all recorded, I am currently looking at transcribing all of our meetings from the past and making sure that they line up, especially the ones with the variances, that we make sure that we have that, documentation showing that this was, the meeting, not only is a recording, but actually, minutes that are now transcribed, and get those kind of done. But I don't know what that looks like moving forward. For as far as if a clerk or recorder is going to have a thing, or should I really be mindful that I should be taking, the notes? I did so again today, just not knowing what that would look like. But I will be much better doing these minutes because this is occurring now. I can't tell you 6 months ago, reading my notes, that I caught everything. So, but we do have those meetings recorded. So I just want to make sure that I kind of catch up on my end. And, but obviously you guys, for you, if you are comfortable, there's the chair, vice chair, and because you're kind of in that structure anyways, BOCC, that can be decided now, or we can vote on it next time. Hey, I'm gonna be the chair, like whatever works for you guys. As you know, traditionally, it's just been the role of the BOCC, just chair stays chair of the board on both sides.
Okay. Colleen, what would you suggest as far as the secretary roles?
I think the fact that we're probably going to be moving away from, Zoom and having the opportunity to be in a room where we're doing a hybrid, and, and there's sometimes that there might be a Board of Health meeting and I may not be able to be there. I think, ideally, if the clerk and recorder had that opportunity to be the secretary, then that would be great. I just know that that's how it was structured in the past, but I also recognize that there's changes happening and a lot going on. So I'm comfortable, maintaining that role until we figure it out. And in this hybrid, as soon as I find the right company to do the transcriptions and I have that, ability in my budget to pay for that, then maybe it becomes, hey, you know what, we might all be in the same room, but we're going to keep it on Zoom and we're going to just keep transcribing it as a way. Like that's just, that's another option too.
I don't have a strong opinion either way, but I do have an opinion about transcribing meeting minutes, that it's not great.
Just from like a Zoom?
Yeah, like verbatim minutes are not, they're not great for the secretary and they're not great for public actually accessing and like following. So yeah. I just will offer, if as minute taking, the very minimum really that just has to be recorded are the formal action that's taken, and who's present and, the file name and those kinds of things. So if that helps, rather than, every topic of discussion that might come up, as far as going back, but, or moving forward.
Yeah.
No, I think this is valuable. Like I said, I'm like, I don't have the answer. And then yes, and they're going to transcribe that. I don't have the answer.
Well, I don't think that the clerk's office has necessarily a complaint of filling that role. I think they just haven't for a while, and so just want some direction on what we want them to do. So I think
I'm happy with asking them to come back and do it if that helps Colleen.
Yeah, I think so. Colleen, if that alleviates some.
No, I think that'd be great. I did have, a simple conversation, with Cindy about that. And she just wasn't comfortable. That was over 2 weeks ago, just because I was like, hey, what have you guys been doing because of so many of these meetings? And she didn't really have, like, to your point, like, just didn't really have that direction or knowledge. And so she said, hey, like, that there wouldn't be anyone here, but if it's something, then that would be, the ability to have that direction given to them as part of like, hey, Board of Health, we feel that that's important because they are already, correct me if I'm wrong, aren't they obligated to do minutes for the Board of County Commissioner meetings? Okay, so if there's an opportunity for them to do that, because technically, hopefully we're going back to our quarterly, right? So it's 4 meetings a year. So it's not as burdensome as it would have been last year or the year before that.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think that we can have Tim reach out to Cindy and Patty with that request from us to fill that secretary role for the Board of Health. So, cool.
No, I can appreciate that. And so, you know, those are just like the role pieces. I think the other piece when we talk about core public health services, that was just a reminder of all the things that we are obligated to do. We have funding, as you know, partially funded through the county, as well as grants, as well as, you know, through our collections that we get from like charging and billing health insurance. So the other question I have for you, and this is just more general, is I know that CDPHE has come out with an actual orientation for Board of Health. And I don't know if you received that. I was told that everyone was sent that. And I was like, well, let me just check in our meeting to see if you guys had received that. Hey, here's the, you know, training that you need to complete as, you know, a Board of Health. Did you guys receive that? Did anyone receive that?
So
The email from the state, yes, I did, from CDPHE.
Okay, and then apparently like there's a webinar link or something, like I don't know because I've not been a part of it. All I know is that I got an email. I got an email from CDPHE saying, hey, we're sending this all out to the board. And that was the last I heard of it. And I wanted to make sure A, that you've seen it, and B, opportunity to you know, take the time to actually go through it. And then we can have questions because the state is willing to come in and do like, hey, great, you took the webinar. Do you want us to come in? Which we've done in the past where they've come up and just kind of walked us through, you know, the Board of Health again. And I haven't seen, like, that's the hard part too. Like I haven't been privy to see this training that they put together. And, you know, is it valuable? Is it not? Do we need, you know, another avenue just to make sure that everyone feels comfortable, you know, in their roles and obligations, so to speak?
Yeah.
who would that have come from?
I don't remember actually getting a link to a class. I just remember getting a link saying,
You're going to get something?
yes, from CDPHE saying that there has been legislation.
Right, and that's part of it, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Did you get one?
Michelle, it
Yeah.
was on
Kimamura.
January 6th.
Yes.
Okay.
Um,
And is there a link in there? Can you see if there's a link in there, Sarah?
because we weren't yet. You would like to
It's just
No.
basically you enroll in a course. Right.
There's a link to House Bill 21-1115.
But not
There's
the course?
shells, and there's, if you would like to register for this webinar, please reply to this email with yes, and we'll use your email to set up your course enrollment. So you have to reply to the email.
Okay, there you go.
There you
I
go.
know that you're super busy, but as you know, as Kelly just said, it is now a legislative requirement, and not in a negative way. I think there was just, as you guys know, like, once again, so appreciate all the support and, you know, the understanding as we made it through COVID. Like, I feel that we did great with our channel communications and figuring it all out, but that wasn't happening. Hence, there are some protections, you know, in there now to make sure that, hey, do you know what your role is? And, you know, saying that somebody can't do something actually may or may not be your role as Board of Health, in the sense of like weighing in on like a school or something, because as you know, there was a lot of overlap and overextension, and in many different ways, from public health, from, anyway, not from us. I think we did really great. So.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I guess that would be my next thing, is like, hey, can you please get on, you know, find that email from Michelle Shimamura and get that rolling. And then hopefully by our next meeting, which is, you know, because we're just March. I'm always bad when it comes to quarters. I'm like, that's 4 months, right? That, you know, our next meeting wouldn't be until, you know, May, if we're setting it up, and if we don't have any anticipated variances until then we can kind of regroup there and be like, hey, that was great. We'll have a timeline to say, hey, our next meeting, we'll have completed whatever that webinar looks like. And I think it'd be valuable if they allow directors to take it, so that we understand too, to be like, oh, I didn't recognize that, or I didn't know that, because, you know, not everyone can know everything, and things, as you guys know, has changed so much in the last 2 years plus. So yeah, that's all I've got to say.
Cool.
And if you have any questions, or I think this is an opportunity too, I think in the past, like, because I feel like we're coming back into what we've done before, you know, we had the ability to, you know, each quarter we bring in, you know, a program, and they would just talk about their program and answer any questions. And so if there's any, you know, burning desire to say, hey, I think we should go back to that, and this is who we want to hear from first, then I can obviously arrange that for our next Board of Health meeting.
Okay. I think it would be really great then if we could have an opportunity to go through that training and then try to schedule a date. Tim can reach out to you to schedule a date for our next Board of Health meeting
Okay,
in the next 3 months, if that would be appropriate, like the end of June.
I think that sounds great.
Okay.
Like I said, unless we have like, Jackie, if you know if you have any like variances that are coming up, obviously once we hit septic season, it gets hectic.
Okay.
Yeah, at this point in time, I do not know of any other upcoming variance requests. But usually septic system season starts the end of April, beginning of May. So we usually get hit pretty heavy then with plan reviews and permit applications.
Okay. Great.
Cool. Thank you.
Jeff or Sarah, do you have anything else that you'd like to talk through or do, or anything right now?
So,
No? Okay. I think we'll take this training course, Colleen, and then from that course, if we can get with Tim and get him anything that we might have questions about how we're handling scenarios or situations right now as a Board of Health or not, or what we can do better from what we learned from that course, then we can talk about that on our next Board of Health meeting.
I know, I think that sounds, so appropriate because, as we said, like, we were still trying to navigate some of the pieces of like, hey, where are the bylaws? And people are like, we don't have any bylaws. It's like, okay, so we don't have bylaws.
Yeah.
Can we just run it? But no, like, so maybe you'll glean something and be like, okay, I think we found something because I've not been able to get that answer, as you know, having reached out because it has been traditionally the Board of County Commissioners. And so running it very similar to how you run a BOCC meeting. So I am open, as you know, for any improvements and just to make the process easier and effective and appropriate, right? In the sense and legal.
Yeah.
As well.
Great. No, totally appreciate it.
Thank you
Does
guys
anybody
so much.
else? Yeah, no problem. Thanks, Colleen. Does anybody else have anything that we need to discuss today before we adjourn? Or do we feel like we have a good plan going forward? Yeah. Okay. Tim, is that good? Okay.
yeah, and I found that email and replied.
Okay, great. We all got the email. Do you want me to forward that to you, Colleen?
I
No,
replied
I'm good.
copying you, Colleen, in case you wanted.
Oh,
to.
okay. Yeah, that's great. And then, like I said, I might talk about the CALFA of like, hey, my board is going to be taking that webinar. Like, can we see it just so that we know? So that when we do the conversation, it's not like that we all come in with ideas is kind of where I'm at. So I'll see what that looks like. I think they were just trying to like legislatively get everyone through board specific, and then maybe there'll be opportunity for that for directors.
Okay, great.
Yeah. All
Sounds good. Well, thanks, Colleen. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Jackie.
Thanks,
Colleen.
Jackie.
Thank you all.
Go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to recognize that there was another request of the applicant to waive fees that we didn't talk about.
Well, we're not adjourning quite yet.
And I guess I will say I totally understand the request, but without any process for which to really make like some formulated decision, I'm not sure that I would feel comfortable doing that at the moment, especially when we're talking about having to increase fees across the county.
Yeah, I had the exact same.
Yeah.
thought. I mean, it's a pretty significant fee waiver, and like we just don't have a criteria for doing that.
Yeah,
So
but we are going through cost recovery. So we will bring that up in that
We might.
area. Yeah,
It might just be, well, if we expand outside recreation
Yeah.
department.
yeah. So, okay. So I think at this time we're not, do we need to take a formal action on that?
We probably should.
Okay.
I
Okay.
move that we deny the fee waiver request for the variance here. Application.
Okay.
I'll second.
All right. Any further discussion?
No.
Okay. Thanks for catching that, Sarah. I appreciate it. All right. Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye.
I
All right. Okay. And so I think that is actually officially the last thing we had to talk about today. So,
Jackie unmuted.
yeah, Jackie, do you have something?
Nope, that was it.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, so we will adjourn today at 3:53 p.m. Thank you all very much.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys. Bye.